want to take a few minutes and talk about design. I did not go to design school. I've never read a book strictly on design. I'm generally not qualified to talk about it at all, probably. I have no formal training in design. My background is in philosophy and stuff. So, grain of salt, this dialogue. I'm not generally a fan of plans. Not just in design. There's something about planning things in detail. It's terrifying. It's anxiety-inducing. Sometimes the only thing I plan on is something going wrong. Starting a project, I like to make a few notes, some rough sketches. Everything is informal, it's dynamic. I don't know anything about drafting. I've never taken a drafting course. I've played around with SketchUp, but it's not something I've really mastered. Often, I let the material govern the decisions, depending on the features, or how much of the material I happen to have. It's in these ways that I think of my process as compositional. I figure out the libretto, and then I build the opera around it. That's a really bad analogy. This approach is absolutely infested with dragons. At every turn. I truly, sometimes I envy the kind of person that can sit down and make a plan from point A to point D and follow it in a linear, sane fashion with 95% of all the measurements worked out on paper before any wood gets cut. But that's not how I operate. Self-doubt may be one of the most fearsome dragons, but there's also regret. Sometimes decisions are made early that affect the project from then on, and sometimes all the way to its demise and relegation to the shop floor. Something good will come out of a bad idea. Money makes things feel more hazardous, too. You can learn from bad decisions, but materials aren't cheap. Bad decisions, they cause my wife to question whether I should remain the guardian of the household budget. I don't know if you've seen the price of quarter sawn white oak right now, but it's kind of silly. Well, plywood notwithstanding. So careful mindfulness becomes a habit. Sometimes I won't cut a piece of wood until I've had several sleepless nights, going back and forth over which method is right, or just specifically, am I screwing this up? Probably, or probably would have if I had just jumped right in. But then there are those times when everything comes together as it needed to. And man, that feels good. That feels really good. As a quote, compositional artist, the idea of taking direction through a commission is really difficult. In commissions I've taken, I've gotten a fair idea of what was wanted, then essentially said, hey, this is what I'm going to give you. And it's been important for me to have the people that I've done these commissions for understand that, and understand that about me, is that I'm not the kind of person that is just going to reproduce the thing that's in your mind, because I'm much more preoccupied with what's in my mind, and a lot of times I have to create a thing. So many things have ended up as gifts. They've gone to people because it just needed to be made. I needed the practice, or I needed to get this idea out. I needed to flesh it out into a real thing. And starting with an idea, but no clear plan in mind. Right or wrong, it's how I operate. And don't get me wrong, though, I like direction. I like preference from the collaborator, but I'm not decorating cakes here. If you'll hang with me here, I'm going to read here for a second. I'm going to read from The Impractical Cabinet Maker by James Krenov. We need to observe ourselves as we work, not just to look at what we're doing, but to see what's happening, where the work is taking us. Because if we can't observe and really notice what is taking place, how will we ever see what the connection is between what we're doing, where it's leading us? These days, taste, what we like and dislike, seems to be widely divergent. One person might seriously claim that aesthetics is merely a matter of opinion. There are no reliable measures, he'll say. Box is a box, he claims. It is experienced at a glance, and that is all there is to it. This strikes me as a rather immature statement. Besides, when it comes to shapes, nature's originals are usually the best. As long as it feels right and you enjoy it, you should believe in what you're doing. Don't let yourself be sidetracked by doubtful onlookers, or people who say, quote, "That's not exciting. You don't know where you're going with all those pick and poke details. You're wasting your time." At such moments, know yourself. Remember that you feel good working this way. Maybe then it's a nice way to waste time. With a chair, there may be sketches and very likely working drawings, because a chair is a complicated structure. one needs to think it through, beginning with the basic problems of height at which one sits, and angle, the position and shape of the backrest. There's a great deal of predetermining, requiring a combination of the visual and practical. We're apt to make and follow a drawing that brings us closer to being designers, because now we begin to get into the matter of predictability, staking everything on the fact that we have drawn a chair that is worth doing and will be the way we want it to be. This is a departure from the composing technique as such, but it's a concession that some of us may have to make at times, or may even want to make. It's the same way with sketching. A few crude lines may be enough for one craftsman. Another may need something more complete and promising in a way of the sketch. For one person, a drawing solves problems. It's reassuring. I believe those who rely on drawing are generally less aware of certain factors, such as the way a shape or a proportion will be affected by the color and the pattern of the wood itself, how a curve or edge or surface will catch light or feel as we touch it. And for the other craftsman, drawing poses more problems than it solves. There's so much he cannot see or predict on paper, things that have to be brought out directly by the work. His awareness of these some things, it makes drawing a distraction. The search that is so important is not just for the sake of searching, or as an escape from the discipline drawing implies. He's quite capable of discipline. It's just that he wants discipline as a part of another reality. He needs to develop a more direct way, because that is the only way he can perceive what he wants to do and how he should do it. I'm not trying to be a psychologist here. I'm no one's counselor. But it's clear that people got a lot of heaviness on them these days, and not everybody has access to a budget, or tools to do this kind of work. But man, if you've got a pen and a piece of paper, there's a way to find a way to be creative. And if anything's going to save us, it's going to be creativity.